Former contractor Edward Snowden promised that he had treasure troves of information to release about the NSA surveillance state. Once again, he is making good on his word. The German newspaper Der Spiegel reports that internal NSA documents from Snowden's previous leaks detail how the agency has been focusing on tapping into all types of smartphones. The newspaper explains, quote, according to the documents, it set up task forces for the leading smartphone manufacturers and operating systems. Specialized teams began intensively studying Apple's iPhone and its iOS operating system, as well as Google's Android mobile operating system. Another team worked on ways to attack BlackBerry, which had been seen as an impregnable fortress until then. So is anything safe anymore? Himanshu Nigam is the founder of SSP Blue, and he is here to break down these latest developments. Himu, thank you so much for joining me. So with these latest revelations, what isn't the NSA tapping into?
That's a great question, Megan. I think we have to, first we have to step back just a teeny bit and put things a little bit more in perspective. We're relying on whatever it is that Snowden is choosing to release. So in other words, we can't have a conversation that really gives the final answer or the this is the way it is kind of solution to what we're going to talk about. But that said, let's also step back 20 years ago. If you look back in your kitchen phone that nobody uses anymore, the NSA, the FBI, all sorts of government agencies had not only the technical capability because the law required it, but also the ability by going to a court to get a tap order to go and wiretap that. So as citizens, I don't think we should be surprised that we're hearing about this. I think we need to put it in perspective that that capability has existed for many, many years, and the NSA is doing what they're supposed to do, which is find ways to protect Americans from foreign terrorist activity coming into our homeland.
Even if it means going into American smartphones and being able to take the pictures that they have from their phone, or going into their smartphones and using the mapping system to be able to find where they are.
Right, and this actually raises another topic, which is the larger security topic. If the NSA has truly been able to, let's say, quote, use the word hack, truly hacked into these phones or the BlackBerry device, what that would tell me, if I'm inside a BlackBerry, what I should be saying to myself is, am I doing security on my phones properly? Because if the NSA can do it, there's probably other hackers out there capable of doing it. And the best thing they can do right now for all companies concerned about this topic is to bring in white hat hackers and say, you know what, you're on my side, I'm going to hire you, because we do this for a living, for example, and just hack into our system, find ways to break in, and then go and fix it. And then part two, focus more attention on saying, okay, we're going to keep our network secure, we're going to keep the privacy of our user base secure, but let's also understand that NSA has a job to do, so let's work together and figure out how to make that happen. They go to the secret court, they get their order, they give it to the company does what they're supposed to do with it, and onward and off we go. But I think that's something that we do have to think about as this is coming out in these revelations and maybe revelations.
Himu, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but are you in support of this NSA program?
Well, I mean, I can speak as a former prosecutor. I think there's a lot of things that I think there was a senator on in your news hour just a few minutes ago saying there's a lot the public doesn't know, that if they knew, they would support things. And having been in the courtrooms of America, seeing the crazy amount of stuff that criminals can do, there are tactics that you take. But at the end of the day, the best part about all this, and I do support this side as well, very well, is there is a legislative, judicial, and executive branch of government. And when the Constitution was created, it was built on the whole notion that different branches will balance the powers of each other out.
At the same time, Himu, I do want to bring up part of that NSA presentation that was part of this Der Spiegel release. Now, it might shed some light on how these agencies see smartphone users. This is the first slide, and the authors draw a comparison to George Orwell's classic dystopian novel 1984 about the surveillance state, revealing the agency's current view of smartphone users. Next to the picture is the old Nike commercial that reads, "Who knew in 1984?" And then the next slide says that this would be Big Brother, and it's next to a picture of Apple co-founder Steve Jobs, and that the zombies would be paying customers with pictures of enthusiastic Apple customers next to it. So with these kind of leaks, does that say that the NSA is making light light on surveillance and American privacy, or is it saying that Americans' privacy or the notion of it is a joke at this point?
Well, I don't think we can say it's a joke. And I will tell you, if you look at it from the industry point of view, Apple, Android, the Googles of the world, the Yahoos, the Microsofts, and the RIM folks, they're all amazingly and urgently focused on protecting user privacy. So from that perspective, they are the user's best friend. And when it comes to what the NSA is doing, they have to go through their judicial and legislative and executive processes to make that happen. So I think if you combine all of this mush and put it all together, you're going to find that there is a system of checks and balances in place. There is no question that sometimes those lines are crossed, but there's also avenues for correction and things that happen, not only in the media like we're talking about ourselves, also in the private sector when they have those debates privately with the government, but also publicly. As you saw, the Obama administration went to the judicial system, the secret court, and said, hey, we want to do certain things that we're not allowed to in 2008, and then 2011 that changed, a ruling came out. And if we as citizens don't like it, we now have the third avenue, which is the legislative, and do what we can always do, which is let's oust the government, let's change the policies, let's pass new rules. So I think at the end of the day, there's a different notion perhaps of a changing privacy, but it's more about the different places that privacy exists as opposed to does the core notion of privacy change? And I don't think the answer to that is yes, but I do think the answer to whether places where privacy can be impacted has changed, yes, exponentially it's expanded.
And as you say, we have seen numerous occasions of these different security apparatuses, surveillance apparatuses being misused. But I guess it comes down to the user of the phone, how much information they put on it, and taking those security precautions. Himanshu Nigam, founder of SSP Blue, thank you for your insight.
Thanks for having me, Megan.